Alright, so for this event, down here, so the player character has touched here, has run back and talked to, her phone rang and has alerted the Avalanche members. So this guy rushes down, I believe it's him, he rushes down, looks and says, who do you, or no, she says, what do you think you're doing? And then he then says, I guess you overheard our plans, we have to get rid of you. We then erase their pictures. We set his movement, remember he's now down here, we move him left 1 and enter a battle. Avalanche 1 is set in these in the system. If you remember from earlier, you can set all the different battles. That maybe what we use if we have to change plugins, we might not go into the system at all to add battles. But this basically just says we want to fight 1 Avalanche member. Once this battle is over, we turn control switch 3 on. We show the picture of Avalanche saying, you'll pay for that, and then we erase that picture. Now that control switch 3 is on, this has been turned on, but this is going to finish running. Once this is done running, control switch 3 erases these events, so this is gone. However, now the control switch 3 has been turned on and that has finished running like it was going to. You'll see this guy is normally just standing there. He's now apparently actually going to change sprites, and then the battle processing is going to happen if he touches us. So you can see here, his movement is fixed. He's not going to move anywhere, he's just standing however we placed him. But when 3 gets turned on, now his movement is changed to approach us fairly quickly, not the fastest, but fairly quickly. And this is kind of how quick he's going to follow the route. So this is how fast he moves, this is how often he's going to move, if that makes sense. So this says, maybe this says like move every frame. This might say move every 10th frame, something like that. That's what the frequency is going to be. Speed is how quickly he gets to his next movement point. So, switch 3 turned on. His trigger has been changed to an event touched. But because he's approaching us, this basically means when he touches us, the battle is going to start with him. We go ahead and set a self switch on, just so this won't run again. If we do come back to this map, we might need to add an outside switch, something like this. So hey, if 17 has been triggered, don't show this guy, because if we did come back to this map, it won't remember this self switch. The self switch is only for while you're within this map. If you go to headquarters and come back, this is no longer going to be remembered. Only these main switches, these global switches, will be remembered. For now, we don't need it, so we'll just get rid of that. So this is what's going to happen. The battle's going to end. This self switch is turned on. We play the phone sound effect. Once we get an animation, we can have Cisne then answer it. We set the player to turn down. That's kind of what I've been doing to make it look like she's answering the phone. Then we have all of these message windows between her and Sung. Everything gets erased. And since we turn the self switch on, it now will do nothing. And now we're free to run up here, go left, be transferred to the headquarters. Hopefully that covers everything. There are probably a few extra things here and there as far as how to script, how to map. A lot of what I've done is set what I think needs to be done, save it, and then do a playtest. I don't always playtest through. Sometimes I will try to put them in here, but just remember it may show some glitches. Things might not play exactly correctly because some of those global switches haven't been set. So if we change things down the line as far as the sprites are concerned, say we want to start adding walking animations and other special, like they did that salute when Shears and they say down with Shinra, that kind of thing. The way we would do that is going to be within the QSprite editor. So let's load up our project. Okay, so this one's called Hero, this one's called Enemy. These have to be called Hero and Enemy. Let me show you why. So let's go back into RPG Maker. So within the QSprite plugin, click this button, it'll pull up the plugin manager. Within here, file name identifier. So you'll see percent and then in brackets config. Let's look at our pictures real quick. Percent, let's check for Cisne. So percent hero. This is telling the QSprite editor anything that's named percent hero, treat it like it's this exact same sprite sheet. Treat it as if it's 5 columns across and 4 rows down, and split those all evenly. It's also referencing what QSprite editor knows about those splits. So it knows that if I want to play a moving down animation, and it knows it's 5 columns, 4 rows, it wants to play 0, 1, 2, 3 in that order and at that speed. Same thing with moving left, moving up, moving right, idles. What we would then do, I don't know if it's called run or not. It likely does matter exactly what this is named. But if we wanted to add running animations, we would add a new one like you saw there. And if we wanted them to run up, we'd call it run 8. And we'll just hypothetically, let's say we have 5 rows. So you can see this is all splitting incorrectly now. But now we also have row 20 with 21, 22, and then I would pick for run 8, if I did have indeed 5 rows, I would pick across like this, and you can see it'll display how and say we wanted to run a little faster, or if we wanted to run even faster than that. Like we can really book it. You might not even be able to tell. We might have enough frames on this video that you can tell how fast that is. But that's how it would then be added. All you would then do is save it, and you would then within the game reference, okay, shift is being held, so now we're running. We're not just walking. If shift is let go, then just do these normal movements. However, that's not what we currently have. So let's pretend we wanted to add that phone animation where she's answering it and talking. We would add a new one. We'll just, for now, we can call it phone. It may be we need to name it something specific, but likely this will be just fine. We can do 2 because we want her to face down. And we would theoretically have those 5 rows again. So if we kind of go like we were talking earlier where we had also a run, and run was 20, 21, 22, 23, then 24, we already have an idle pose for her running, or for her just standing still. So this could then be that phone answering pose, where you would set it something simple as that. From there you would just save it, and then within the game itself, within those events, you would then just have to reference display which pose. Display pose phone 2, and it would then work. Hopefully that's makes sense how to use this. It took me a long time to figure this out. There wasn't hardly any tutorials on making this thing work. I do want to kind of reference one more time the most important part of this that will really save us some time is as long as these are all the same rows and columns, as long as we create them the same, all we need to do, say it was Reno, we could name it %hero-Reno. So it's %hero-Cisne, as long as his layout is still a 5x4, it will pull these instructions. It will still set move 2, move 4. It will automatically run the hero configuration. Same thing with all the enemies. So even including, say, we don't want Reno to be a playable character, or let's just use Shears as an example. I don't then need to go and create a new config called Shears. I can name his PNG %enemy-Shears, and it's going to run exactly the same things that this has already been set up to do. So as long as they are all the same, we don't really need to touch them as long as we name them correctly. Okay guys, hope that's it.